If you have ever felt guilty for procrastinating, or if you've ever just completely beat yourself up for hitting snooze instead of hitting the gym, I want you to take a deep breath and literally let that guilt go right now. Most of us are walking around believing that a lack of discipline is some kind of deep character flaw, right? Like it's a shameful sign of weakness. But here is the crazy truth. Your lack of discipline isn't a character flaw at all. It's actually a built-in neurobiological feature of a brain that was designed strictly for survival. And that brings us to our core premise today, which is famously championed by author James Clear. He points out that real discipline absolutely does not come from forcing yourself against millions of years of human evolution with, a handful of motivational quotes. It just doesn't work that way. True discipline comes from clever, intentional design. If you are constantly relying on willpower alone, you're essentially fighting a daily battle against your own biology. And trust me, that is a battle your fatigue is eventually going to win. Think about it. We're dealing with the ultimate internal conflict here. Our brain's biology was shaped over millennia to act exactly like a lazy hunter-gatherer. It desperately wants to conserve energy and seek out quick, predictable rewards. I mean, scrolling through TikTok for 3 straight hours, your ancient brain absolutely loves that because it feels like a safe, low-energy win. But modern society demands the exact opposite from us to actually thrive. We need discipline, long-term focus, and resilience. Relying on sure motivation to bridge this massive gap between our ancient hardware and modern demands, it's just always going to fail. So to really understand why we fail, we have to look at this fascinating concept called cognitive ease. And honestly, this completely validates the struggles you and I face every single day. The brain is not rational when it comes to your long-term goals. It is just relentlessly efficient. Cognitive ease is your brain's subconscious tendency to always choose the path of least resistance to save energy. And the kicker? This choice happens before you are even consciously aware of it. That is exactly why your autopilot is always going to choose the comfort of the couch over the effort of the gym if you give it the chance. Because of this, we just have to accept an uncomfortable truth. Human self-control is incredibly fragile. The solution isn't trying harder. It's something called choice architecture. Your behavior isn't shaped by some inner moral muscle. It's actually shaped by what is closest, most visible, and most accessible in your immediate environment. It's wild how simple this is when you look at the data. Just moving water bottles from the back of a cafeteria to the front drastically increases water consumption over soda. Leaving your gym clothes out on your bed instead of keeping them hidden in a drawer, that completely changes the trajectory of your morning. Having a phone actively blocked by an app is entirely different from having one sitting on your desk with notifications just pinging away. Those highly disciplined people you see, they aren't stronger than you. They are just smart, behavioral engineers. They set up their physical space so that doing the right thing takes way less energy than doing the wrong thing. Okay, now let's dive into this massive neurohack. This is absolutely crucial. The 2-minute start. Have you ever wondered why we instantly seek out distractions the absolute second we sit down to work? Like suddenly you desperately need to organize your desk. It's because your brain's distraction filter is triggered by the anticipation of a massive, exhausting effort. If you plan to study your workout for an hour, your brain's effort avoidance alarm just starts blaring, and it immediately hunts for a distraction to save energy. But by shrinking that task down to just 2 minutes, you lower the barrier so drastically that the alarm never even rings. You bypass your brain's defense mechanisms completely. A 2-minute task requires almost zero mental energy to start, so your brain doesn't even bother seeking out a distraction. It's a total game changer, and you can actually supercharge this by tying it directly into habit stacking. Here's how it works. Take an automatic routine you already do without even thinking about it, like brushing your teeth. Then, immediately, attach your new tiny 2-minute action right to it. So maybe you meditate for exactly 2 minutes right after you put the toothbrush down. By tying a tiny action to an existing habit, you manufacture this immediate momentum. You bypass the brain's resistance entirely just by hijacking an automatic routine. Pulling all of this together with the 4 laws of behavior change shows us exactly how to make procrastination just completely disappear. First, make the habit obvious by leaving your book right on your pillow. Next, make it attractive by pairing that reading time with your favorite cup of coffee. Then, make it easy by utilizing that 2-minute start we just talked about so your brain doesn't freak out and seek distraction. And finally, make it satisfying with immediate tracking or a small reward right after. When you just learn your system this way, the right action literally becomes the path of least resistance. And this brings us to a really profound realization. Discipline? It's really just a side effect of your identity. You don't actually need to enjoy waking up early. You don't need to be super passionate about the routine itself. You just need to execute these tiny 2-minute micro habits consistently enough to prove to yourself that you are someone who gets things done. It is not about winning by brute force. It's about winning by structure. And over time, that structure fundamentally changes how you see yourself. So I want to leave you with this final provocative question to think about. What is the very first habit you are going to redesign today? I really challenge you to stop relying on motivation. Stop trying to fight millions of years of human evolution. And instead, start engineering an environment where your success is absolutely inevitable.